You go through your life, you might be involved in 1 or 2 fires, so you just don't think it's going to happen to you. But when it does happen, it's really serious, and for the sake of putting in the right doors, it's not worth taking that chance. So we're at a house in Westcliff-on-Sea that's been converted into a HMO. I'm guessing it was a 3-bed house and they're turning it into a multi-room HMO. So part of the regulations for HMO, each bedroom will need to have a fire-rated door installed. So the guys have made a start. They've done a couple of doors, and I've just come in to check their work and inspect the doors and pass or fail their work. With older buildings, they probably, in many cases, the door itself might not be a fire-resistant door, might be a hollow door, might not be thick enough. Especially when you're converting into a HMO, because the doors they're taking off are probably just designed to be internal doors, and they'll only be 33mm thick. A 30mm fire door needs to be 44mm thick. Probably only got 2 hinges. You need to have 3 fire-rated hinges. Probably doesn't have a fire and smoke seal in the frame or on the door, so you need to have a fire and smoke seal. The existing doors won't have closers. You get that a lot with older doors in blocks of flats. Closers aren't installed. And then you've got the problems with an older building. The frame isn't in the same position as it was when the place was built. It's out. So when you're putting in a new door, there's gaps everywhere. Door might not close properly because it's rubbing on the floor or rubbing on the frame. You can't have more than a 10mm gap under the door. So when the door's wide open, it's just a couple of mil gap to the floor, but when it shuts, there might be a 15mm gap because the floor's out. Anyone that's got an older building knows the issues with an older building, and the guys just have to work around that and just make sure the door is compliant, meets all the regs. Check the thickness of the door. Has to be 44mm thick. You could knock on the door, see if it sounds hollow. Some really easy checks. Check that there's 3 hinges. Check that there's a fire and smoke seal that goes around the door. Check that it's got a closer. It's all stuff they should be able to spot pretty much straight away. Check if there's any excessive gaps around the door. You have to ensure that it opens and closes freely. Maybe they think it will never happen to them. Maybe they think there's never going to be a fire in their house, and they see it just as another unnecessary expense. But fires happen more often than people realise. The door could be the difference in the fire spreading in 5 minutes to spreading in half hour to an hour, and just gives people time to escape the building. You go through your life, you might be involved in 1 or 2 fires, so you just don't think it's going to happen to you. But when it does happen, it's really serious, and for the sake of putting in the right doors, it's not worth taking that chance. We get asked that a lot by people when we check their door. Like, we might just say the hinges need replacing, or it needs a seal installed, or a lock needs changing. They're saying, oh, maybe I could do that myself. But I'd always recommend you get a professional in. It has to meet government guidance and regulations. Something that sounds simple, like swap out hinges and put in new hinges, isn't always the case. The hinges you're putting in could be thicker than the ones that you've taken out. You need to take a bit more off the door. The door needs to close properly with no gaps. What is going to take these guys an hour to do, you could be all day working on it and probably still get it wrong. So I'd always recommend you get in a professional company to do this. Like, we even see it where they've had carpenters in that maybe don't know regs, and they've been tasked by the homeowner or the flat owner, could you make this door compliant, and they only do half a job because they don't know what all the regs are. They don't know exactly what the components are required to make it a fire resistant door. So they'll just do half a job, and then you've still got to get somebody back, and it ends up costing more than it should have if you'd got in a professional company in the first place. It all comes down to the height of the residential building. If it's over 11 metres high, communal doors are checked quarterly. In commercial buildings, it could be every 6 months. The guidance is based on how frequent they feel that the door is used, so how often it should be checked. But yeah, at least once a year. In Southend anyway, you need to get a licence from the council to have a HMO. And I think this could be across the whole country, or it's getting rolled out. And a housing inspector will come and check the building and make sure it's satisfactory to be granted a HMO licence. And part of that check is checking that it meets all fire regulations. including fire doors. If you're landlords and you have a flat in a block of flats, you have a responsibility to look after your tenant who's paying you probably quite good money to live in your property. For the sake of maybe 1 month's rent, just make sure that there's a proper fire door in place. A door that isn't a fire door will soon get found out in the event of a fire. Once it's done, and you can sleep easy, relax. Don't take any chances.